Well, hello there, my friends. My name is Paul Matthews. I'm so excited to be with you today. I've entitled my presentation for today, for this great conference, AI for Better Basics. AI for Better Basics. Now, that might be a little hard to understand at first, but I guarantee you, in 25 minutes or so, not only are you going to know what it is, but I think you're going to catch that vision and you're going to have the practical tools to be able to carry out the philosophy of AI for Better Basics. My real passion is thinking about how we can not only integrate artificial intelligence and education, but how we can do it in a way that has real, clear, immediate benefits for our learners. I'm a teacher. I want to see benefits for teachers as much as the next guy, but I actually got into education to see benefits for our learners. Real learning, life-changing learning taking place. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to look at how we can use artificial intelligence to do the basics of education better. I'm passionate about it, and I trust that you will be too soon. Let me say this. So I'm gonna flick back to my slide deck here. We've got a little resource for you. I say I've got a little resource for you. I had the immense privilege of speaking at TEDx Hobart earlier this year. I live in Hobart, Tasmania, which is like the southernmost part of Australia. And I got to share this vision, AI for Better Basics, and I created a little ebook. Now that ebook is yours. It's free. It's my gift to you. And if you'd like it, you can just scan the QR code that's on any one of these pages of my slide deck. So you'll see that there. So a little bit about me before we get stuck into things. So my name, as I said, my name is Paul Matthews. You can see here I've got myself, back when I had a little bit more hair, got my dad, and I've got his dad. That's my grandpa. I'm actually a third generation educator. And I think that's really where part of my passion comes from in terms of education. I absolutely love it. It's in my blood. I don't think I could do anything else all of my days. I'm a third generation educator and I absolutely love it. I'm still teaching in the classroom. My school has very, very generously allowed me to pursue my passion of integrating AI and quality education. So I work with a number of schools around Australia and the US. But when I'm not doing that, I'm teaching at Calvin Christian School in Tasmania, Australia. I absolutely love it. I never want to leave the classroom. I think it is one of the most exciting things a person can do with their life is be a teacher, especially I would say in a high school. I tried primary for a little while and I'll tell you what, it took years off my life. No disrespect to primary teachers. In fact, nothing but respect to primary teachers. Wow, I would end the day exhausted. But in the secondary space, dealing with teenagers who are trying to understand the world, understand themselves, I absolutely love it. And I see some real benefits for that space with artificial intelligence. And as I talked about before, I've got some goals for our time together today. I've written them down, so I'm going to share them with you now. What are we going to do in the next 25 minutes? Well, I want you to catch a vision for artificial intelligence in schools. Now, importantly, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't have a sort of a baited hook that I'm going to give you here. I want you to catch this vision. I really do, because I think it will benefit the learners in your classroom. And then I want to give you the practical tools to carry out that vision. All right. So in the next 25 minutes, if you can sort of walk out the metaphorical door of this session in 25 minutes with a really clear vision for how AI can be used in schools and having the practical tools to carry that out, then I think that's been a big success, a roaring success. So let's have a look here. Why do we need a vision for artificial intelligence in schools? That's an interesting thing to think about, isn't it? An interesting thing to think about. Well, when we start with what new technology could do, right? When we start with what it could do, we can end up in all sorts of different places because technology, the better it gets, the broader the range of options for what it can do. And so you have one teacher and they'll take new technology and they'll try and run with it and they'll try and do amazing things, and it will be sort of virtual reality, it'll be the metaverse, it'll be hundreds of gamified learning opportunities. And another opportunity, what also could we do with this tech? Well, maybe someone on the other side of the school has decided, I'm going to put the tech in the bin. I don't like it. It doesn't fit with my vision for education or where my learners should be at. If we start with what we could do with the technology, things like ChatGPT and other generative AI tools, well, we could end up anywhere. So I think actually before we start with the could, we need to get together as a school or a network of schools and think about what should we do? We need to have a sober assessment of going, well, look, where do we actually see these tools fitting? What's the priority for our school? What is our vision, mission, values? And then how do we see artificial intelligence potentially furthering that? All right. And it's the age-old saying, well, it's not age-old. It's better, something I say a lot, is that purpose should precede practice. All right. It's the could-should idea, but just rephrased, isn't it? Purpose, we should start with our purpose. If we start with our purpose, then our practice will fall neatly into line. If we start with practices, well, it won't necessarily be aligned to our purpose. We could have 100 people doing 100 things, and there's no real way of knowing if they're sort of going to benefit our learners or evidence-based methodologies. Purpose precedes practice, all right? I'm all about having a clear vision. We know that a clear vision with shared language is going to actually help our schools adapt, explore the possibilities without sort of stepping in every pothole along the way. So purpose should precede practice. We want a purpose for engaging with these tools. What might that purpose be? That's the question. That's the question. What might that purpose be? Well, let's have a look here. My big vision is, as I've said, it's AI for better basics, right? Artificial intelligence for better basics. What does that mean? Let me unpack that term very quickly for you. It means we want to use AI to do the basics of education better, right? The things that we know work, the proven practices, we want to use AI to do those things more often for more learners. Because again, there's such a wide range of things we could be doing with this new technology. And I think that's what gets teachers quite worried, right? They see new tech emerge, right? And I've worked with, over the last 18 months, I've worked with over 2,000 educators, sort of helping them wrap their head around artificial intelligence, how it might be used. And look, there's a little bit of fear out there. Why is that? Because people feel like they may have to use this new technology to do new things. They're going, okay, so I've developed over the last 15 years in the classroom my own pedagogical strategies, lessons that I teach over and over again, ways of handling myself and handling teaching and learning. That's my sort of grab bag of pedagogical strategies. That's who I am as a teacher. And many teachers are fearful that, well, actually, if I start using new technology, I have to put that bag, that grab bag I've spent a decade and a half accumulating, I have to put that in the bin and start again. Well, actually, my vision is not that we use new technology for brand new things. Again, it's that we use new technology to do the basics of education better, right? The evidence-based basics more often for more learners. I really came across this vision when I was dealing with a young girl in my Year 9 English class a couple of years ago. She was called Jess, right? Obviously not her real name, but we'll call her Jess. Jess was a lovely girl, right? Really a blessing in my classroom. No doubt about that. She engaged well with other students. She had no hesitations in contributing to group discussion. Just a kind-hearted, true blue Australian girl. One of the good ones, right? One of the gems. If you're a teacher, you'll know what I'm talking about. The only problem was she really struggled academically, right? She struggled with her work. Now, that's not so good, is it? And what really got me thinking is, well, look, what benefits Jess? What benefits Jess? Is it using this brand new technology? Do I think the benefits for her and the sort of getting her back on track and up to speed in her learning, do the benefits lie in like virtual reality field trips to the pyramids of Giza, or exploring the metaverse, or cryptocurrency, or gamified learning? Now, look, maybe. But I definitely know that there are benefits in the evidence-based practices that we know work. The evidence-based interventions that we've been doing for ages, I know they work. And so actually I'm going to use this new technology to do more of what we know works more often. That's what will get Jess back on track. And I come from Tasmania, which is a state of Australia, where we spend more government money per student than any other state, yet key indicators of learning like literacy rates are lower than any other state. So I'm not just thinking about Jess, my sort of Year 9, the great girl in my Year 9 English class. I'm thinking about, well, the tens of thousands of other Tasmanian students. And of course, then the same people around the world. We see students need as much help as they can get. So what's actually going to help them? I would say it's the basics of education better. Again, this is good because we already know what works, and then we can use AI as a tool to do more of it than ever before. More evidence-based practices, more often for more learners. I hope that's a vision, my friend, that you start to catch. So then the question is, well, look, what might those practices be? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through 2 or 3 of those practices, depending on our time. I'm going to run through 2 or 3 of those practices and just show you how you can use simple free software like ChatGPT to do those things for your learners. And again, I hope you could leave this session, walk out the metaphorical door of this online conference, and you could do something for your students that would help them learn tomorrow based on the vision and the skills that you're going to get in this brief presentation. Really, really excited about that. Let's have a look. Okay. Text differentiation. Text differentiation. This is huge. It is huge. And let me tell you why it's so huge. In Australia, during the COVID pandemic, we shut down our schools for a long time. Now, that's probably the same as your country did, no doubt. Now, what happened there? Well, there's almost like a fork in the road. So one cohort of students, their learning just went to the moon, right? They really embraced that style of learning where you could do whatever you want, whenever you want. Other cohorts of learners just sort of sat in their room and picked a scab for months on end, didn't really do anything. Maybe played some Roblox or Fortnite, you know what I mean? So what happens, you've got now the learning gap in the classroom, the gap between the brightest person and the student who needs the most help, it's yawning wider and wider. It's bigger than it's ever been. So I've got a Year 9 class and I've got some learners who are reading at a grade 7 level, a significant amount, some who are reading at a grade 5 level, okay? So if I give them a grade 9 level reading, they're not actually going to have that much of a chance. This is going to lead to disengagement, frustration from the learners. They're going to become quite jaded with school, sick of it, because they just can't access the learning. So what we can do for them, use AI to really simply and easily adjust the length and complexity of a text, okay? So let's go over here. I've got my ChatGPT, and in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find an article here on the causes of World War I. Let's grab that. This is the sort of thing I would read with my Year 9 history class. Let's grab it. You can see it's a pretty meaty reading. It's got some big words in there. I'm going to grab it, and I'm just going to put it. I'm going to save it for later, but I'm going to write my prompt now. Now, if you don't know how to prompt, this is what I do, okay? This is a really simple framework. It works for me 90% of the time. It gets me exactly where I need to go. It's complex enough to give enough information for the AI to help it do a really good job, but it's simple enough that you're not spending all day writing your prompt, okay? So let's have a look. I use the role task format. So role, I actually type in role, act as an expert, Year 9, you might say 9th grade where you come from, Year 9 history teacher. Then we give it a task, all right? Reduce the length and complexity of this text. Keep the key points as part of the text. We might also say, oh, actually, we might even go with that. It's quite a simple prompt. And then we go format. And we go use a paragraph structure. Keep the same headings. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to include some triple quotes. Paste that in. All right, we've pasted that in. Lovely. So again, that's just a really simple look at our prompt. It didn't take me long to write. And it's something you could do in a heartbeat. Act as an expert Year 9 history teacher. Reduce the length and complexity of this text. Keep the key points as part of the text. Format, use a paragraph structure. Keep the same headings. So we're just going to fire that off now. And then we're going to get our simplified reading. Now, when I first started teaching, I used to do this. Right? I've always differentiated text. But you know what? It didn't take me 30 seconds. It took me 30 minutes. And I was doing 2 or 3 readings a class per week. I was doing 5 classes as part of my teaching load. So you can think how long I was spending. It was taking me my evenings, my weekends, my holidays. And now I've got my Year 9 version of the text that we copied straight from the website, right? And now as we go to ChatGPT, we've got our simplified version here. Lovely. Right? That's welcoming more learners into more learning. Maybe that's our grade 7 level. I might now say reduce it to simple dot points. All right, so I'm bumping it down one level more in complexity, and that means, I've taken care of my grade 9s with the original reading. I've taken care of my grade 9s with a grade 7 year level reading, and then this is maybe for the people who have a grade 5 level reading. So what am I doing? Again, I'm making these ideas accessible to all my learners. Previously, if I wanted to do some higher order thinking questions, analysis, debate, synthesis, application, those sorts of questions, well, there'd be a whole bunch of students who just couldn't do it because there was a deficit of comprehension. They just couldn't understand. Now we can get everyone understanding, so people aren't locked out of higher order thinking because of that comprehension deficit. Great. What I might want to do, one further iteration that I like to use is now include, I'll say now repeat the original output with the simple dot points under each paragraph. All right, so now what it's going to do is give me a simplified version, right? And hopefully it's going to give me these paragraphs these dot points under each paragraph. Now, why would I do that? Well, what this does is it's embracing some universal design for learning principles, but it's saying the same worksheet now works for everyone, okay? If you struggle with the paragraphs, read the dot points, right? If you're normally a dot point person, but you're feeling brave, you can read the paragraphs. This one sheet will be accessible to everyone now. I love that. I love being able to have one resource. It caters to everyone and makes everyone able to access the learning. So that is something that I find really exciting. That's text differentiation. You saw that was a really simple prompt. You can, as time goes on, you can beef up your prompt. You can ask for other things like the removal of slang or idioms or the removal of jargon or these sorts of things. You can add that to your prompt. I mean, you're a teacher. You're a professional. So that won't be a problem for you. So that's an idea of the evidence back to basics, done more often for more learners. Now that it doesn't take 30 minutes, now that it takes 30 seconds, well, we can do more of what we know works more often, right? That means better learning for students, and that's what we get in this profession to do, isn't it? So exciting. So that's text differentiation. Really, really simple. That's our first better basics. All right, let's look at the second principle, or the second practice now. All right, retrieval practice quiz. Now, quizzes are great. They're fantastic because what it does is it encourages the learner to go back over what they've learned and think about it again, right? Because as it turns out, just like a student needs to practice a sport or an instrument, they actually need to practice their knowledge. It's a key part of learning. We used to think that learning was all about what you could shove in a student's head. It's like shoving a sleeping bag in a sack. We used to think it's all about just putting knowledge in and putting it in. Now we're starting to realize over the last decade or two that actually putting knowledge in is important, but what we can draw out, now that's it, really important too. As I said, they practice their sports, they practice their music, they have to practice their knowledge. So how might we do this? Okay. Before we go to sentence stems, let's look at this, okay? So I'm going to open up a new chat, and you can use ChatGPT without creating an account if you want. You can create a free account or you can get a paid account. It's really a simple place to start. So let's give it the role task format way of doing things again. Role, act as an expert. We'll say this time 9th grade history teacher. Task. Let's have a look at that. Now, what's this task? Create a retrieval practice quiz based on the text below. Now, format. How do we actually want this formatted? Give me 8 multiple choice questions. Give me 5 short answer questions. 5 fill in the blank questions, and 2, we'll call them essay questions. And then we're going to paste our text in, and we'll go from there. Now, that's fantastic. You might think, Paul, you asked for a lot of questions there. Are these people going to be doing their quiz all day? No. Why not? Well, one of my big philosophies when it comes to AI use is that we ask for options, not answers. Options, not answers, right? So if I want to do a 10-question quiz, I ask for 20 questions and I choose the best 10. Why is that? Why would I do that rather than just asking for 10? Well, if I open up the scope of what AI can give me, well, I find that often there's some questions that I think really work quite well for my learners and my context and my curriculum. Sometimes there are questions that wouldn't work at all. So I ask for more than I need and I pick the best stuff. And why do I do that? Because I'm the expert. I know my learners, my content, and my context. So I ask for options and then I choose the answers. We've got our multiple choice questions, helpfully also with the answers. We've got short answer questions there. We've got fill in the blanks, and we've got essay questions. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, watch this. This is a great move. I'm going to iterate. So I'm going to go in and ask it to do something. I'll say, please make the essay questions more complex, involving analysis, debate, and argument. All right, I'm making it more complex. Now, sometimes AI will do a thing like this where it says, okay, well, look, here are two options. Choose the best one. So what do I see here? I'm just going to click this for argument's sake. Now, I've done the one thing that I actually didn't do in the first 4 years of my career ever in a Year 9 history classroom, and that's differentiate up, make things more complex, requiring more cognitive effort to get through. I was so busy differentiating down to help those people who were struggling that I never got to extend those learners who needed to be run like a racehorse, right? They needed extension. So now, in 5 seconds, well, that's my extension taken care of. And those learners who want a bit more of a stretch, well, they can do the more complex questions. I absolutely love it. Let's look here. Sentence stems. Right? I'm a big believer in getting people writing. Literacy is crucial. Now, people say, literacy, how old-fashioned, reading and writing. Don't you know we're in a brand new age with new technology? Just think about this, though. How do we engage with that new technology? Right now, interestingly enough, you've just been seeing with ChatGPT, by writing, by reading, right? Comprehension, using specific vocabulary. That's literacy, friends. Literacy is crucial, and here's the thing, it's only going to become more and more crucial. So sentence stems are great because they get our learners writing. They get our learners writing. So, new chat, all right? Create a list, or we'll start with a role task format. Role, act. Now let's zoom in on this so it's a bit easier for you to see. Act as an expert 9th grade history teacher. Task, create a list of sentence stems from the text below. Format, let's have a look at this. Include a list of single blank and multi blank stems. That's just where there's more than one space for the student to write. And I will also say create 4 simple stems for, what would we say? Would we say simple, sort of moderate, or moderate, and 4 complex. Let's see how we go with this. So it's probably going to ask me to paste in the text now. So let's paste in that text. Beautiful. And then it's going to create those sentence stems. It's got the simple stems, moderate, and there's a mix of single and multi-blank, and then the more complex ones. Lovely. All right. What's that going to do? It's going to get my learners writing. I'm so passionate about that. And these are great scaffolds. There's a lot of students out there who've got a lot of horsepower upstairs, but they just struggle with framing ideas, structuring sentences. So these sentence stems, again, I've done this my whole teaching career, but to do 12 sentence stems, a mix of single blank and multi-blank based on the information in a particular reading I was doing, would have taken me, again, another half an hour. Now, sometimes it's half an hour you don't have. So the good evidence-based practice, well, friends, it just got left undone, sadly. But now with artificial intelligence and with that vision for AI, for better basics, doing the basics of education more often for more learners, well, we can do this sort of stuff all the time. And I'm so excited about that. So yep, we can put these all on a sheet and students can choose 1 from each category, 3 from each category. Some might start on the complex end, some might never get past the simple stems. That's fine. But again, we're including everyone in the learning here. How exciting is that? Okay. Well, look, I was thinking if I had extra time, I would go through a few frequently asked questions. I put out a poll on LinkedIn. I said, look, is there anything you want me to discuss? I'm giving this talk. Would you like me to add anything? However, we'll see. Let me summarize my key ideas here. And then if we have time, we'll go back to the frequently asked questions. But if we go back here, friends, to a vision for AI in schools, I said in 25 minutes time, I want you to have that vision. And of course, that's AI for better basics. And I want you to have the practical tools to carry it out. Now, today, I've cast that vision, and I hope, like a fish in a hook, it's just got you. And you are captured by that vision, and it's something that excites you. We can use our existing knowledge and understanding. We can use our existing body of evidence, and we can help our learners by giving them the basics more often for more learners. And then I wanted to give you the practical tools. So I've shown you ChatGPT. Now, likely, many of you will be familiar with that. I've shown you a really simple way of formatting prompts, role task format. And I've shown you, importantly, some iteration techniques. How might you follow up? And you'll notice there as well, what we did there, so text differentiation, retrieval practice quiz, and sentence stems, that was all based off one reading, right? So now, how might we incorporate this, the better basics, into our class? Well, anytime I'm doing a reading, I can do those 3 things. I can differentiate it so more people can understand it. I can do a retrieval practice quiz afterwards so students get to practice their knowledge just like they need to practice a sport or an instrument. And I can do some sentence stems and I can get them writing about the topics that they've just read about. Right? So that's one reading. 3 simple strategies, but actually there's a pile of evidence behind them that show that, yes, that's good for our learners. Again, I'm really excited about some of the crazy, far-out, innovative virtual reality, metaverse sort of stuff, but what gets me even more excited, friends, is the thought of being able to do more of what we know works more often for more learners. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, I would love to talk with you. I'm on LinkedIn. If you just look under Paul Matthews AI. Working with schools is something I'm passionate about. Working with practical pedagogical strategies that save teachers time and improve our impact in the classroom, that's something I get really excited about. If that's something you'd like to talk to me about, just reach out on LinkedIn, or you can download my book, AI for Better Basics, and I'll make sure I get in touch with you that way. So look, that's all we have time for today, friends. I trust you've caught the vision. I trust you've got the practical steps to be able to carry these things out. And I wish you all the best. Ultimately, I really trust and hope that using artificial intelligence, you'll be able to save time, you'll be able to be more creative, and you'll be able to crucially have a bigger impact in your classroom.